All right. Hello, friends. Welcome to the Reversion Book Club. I have a very special guest here, as you can see. We're joined by Matthieu Pagaeu, who I'm delighted to have join us. It's an honor. He's the author of the book we've been reading in the book club, The Language of Creation, Cosmic Symbolism in Genesis, which we've all been enjoying very much. We've had a lot of interesting insights and comments and questions. Most of the questions have been directed to me, and I feel like completely incompetent in being able to answer them. So it's great to have the author himself be able to join us and address any questions anyone might have. We are live on Substack, so if anyone's got, I think we're live on Substack. If anyone's got questions and you're able to tune in, you can pop them into the chat. And any comments, I'll see them there, and I'll read them. So, and we've got some guests joining us here with us from the book club. So glad to have you guys as well. I would say the first question that I had was when you read Genesis, when you're reading the Bible, how did you develop this lens where you're able to look at the symbology, looking at the text and derive all this symbology from it? Like, how, I guess what I'm asking ultimately is, like, how did you develop the kind of symbolic worldview?
Yeah. I guess it started with René Guénon. Actually, I have to say that it is what kind of where it started, because I come from a Protestant background. So, yeah, I didn't have this in my head
Yeah.
naturally, let's say, from my background. Although it's not completely true. I mean, there's stuff in Protestantism that still makes sense. It's not all it's not all wrong. As some of it is still
Mm.
correct, I would say. But yeah, it started with Guénon. That's where it really started. Well, actually, it's not true. It start before that, and I'm just realizing before that, like many teenagers, I was reading weird occult, esoteric stuff. That's actually more true. I kind of forgot about that aspect of my life. Like many teenagers, I was reading weird occult stuff which is the level that you have when you're a teenager, I guess, because it's kind of forbidden. There's the forbidden knowledge aspect of it that's kind of attractive when you're young, and it's also kind of simplified. Although there's this idea that esoteric stuff is higher knowledge. It's actually not. It's actually low level knowledge. Usually, what you can find in like a bookstore,
Hmm.
like an
Yeah.
esoteric bookstore or something like that. Um, it's actually low level knowledge, really. But when you're a teenager, you think
Yeah.
that's mystical.
Yeah. Ooh,
You think it's
dualities.
higher,
Yeah. Wow.
but it's actually low, low, low level. Um, so yeah, I read, like a bunch of people. I read like magic stuff about
Hmm.
magic and things like that. Even like Aleister Crowley. That's what we were reading when we were teenagers, really, which tells us what state the world is in right
Hmm.
now, kind of. Because when I was a teenager, that's what we read. We didn't read the Bible, and we didn't care about Christianity. We thought it was kind of just lame or something, which comes from our culture. I guess it's just a result of our culture. Um, but yeah, at one point I realized that was not real knowledge. It was just basically what I was reading in those books was just mind associations that were kind of just random, and it creates patterns in your mind that are just associations but that don't make sense, and then you kind of interpret reality with these random associations that they make, and you develop some weird perceptions of reality through that. But that's not real knowledge. I think that's the purpose of those books, actually,
Mm.
kind of cause a little bit of a not schizophrenia, but maybe mind dissociations. You start seeing subtle influences when you let your mind do random associations like that. A lot of people are doing that today. Actually, it's one of the problems that's going on right now. People are It's like that's not real symbolism. That is magic.
Yeah.
When you start making associations that don't make really sense, logical sense, and then you interpret reality with that, you turn into a kind of a magician or something like that. So a part of occult traditions is just that, to change your mind into something that's fluid, something that always interprets everything. All the details of reality are seen as important, which is a big mistake. Obviously, when you see what real traditions have to say, you realize that's a dangerous path. Actually, when you start doing that, when you start saying things like "there's no coincidences," or you interpret every single little speck of reality as meaningful, that's actually how you go down into into hell. We could
Yeah.
say it's not a good thing to do, but a lot of people are doing that today. I think on purpose. It was intended that way. So yeah, but at one point, after going through that craziness, I did discover Guénon, and Guénon was more logical. That's what I liked about him at first, at least. He was logical, you know, and he was talking about symbolism not as if it was this weird occult thing, but as if this was the way of thinking of the past, you know, of tradition, which is not the same. You see, he's not trying to be he's not trying to be edgy. You know, he's
Yeah.
acting like this is the real knowledge. It's not edgy at all. Actually, this is the real knowledge that was lost and replaced by materialism. It's not trying to be cool. That's what I
Yeah.
mean.
It's just
It's
pre-modern.
Yeah, it's just what it was before in every single culture of the
Yeah.
world. They thought in this way, and it's not random associations or anything like that. It's a logical way of thinking, but based on reality instead of being based on just ideas, right? Just a logical deduction. That's another error that you can make. You can make the error of random associations, which esoterists sometimes do, but you can also make the error of logical, always just basing everything on pure logic, which is another, I think, mistake, which can also make you go crazy, but in a different way. So yeah, Guénon was the only author that I saw that which was just talking about real symbolism, what I would consider real symbolism. So yeah, that's pretty much the explanation of it. And then obviously later I started just actually reading texts from Christianity and from well, I was interested in Judaism. I still am for very strange reasons, but I did learn a lot from that, from the really concrete aspect of it. Um, Not the occult part, you know, because the occult parts of Judaism are very similar to the occult parts of Christianity. It's actually very similar. It's almost identical sometimes.
Well, yeah, it's
So it's like,
Neoplatonism. It's
yeah,
Neoplatonism with a Jewish skin suit. That's kind of how I describe it. It's just kind of redefining Neoplatonic terms.
yeah, and it's also and maybe even worse than that. Actually, that might be the less worse part. The other part I would say is what I was describing before, the
Hmm. Yeah. Yep.
magical aspect of
Yep.
it, and that is also found in in
Yeah.
Europe too.
The
I mean, it's
manipulation of the
uh,
divine names and all that.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Just manipulation is the right word. That's what it's all about. Manipulation of reality. That's what it's all about. So that's, I would say, the lowest aspect. But that's usually what you find first because you're not ready for
Hmm.
real knowledge when you're young. You know, you encounter these things that are kind of low level, and but that claim to be higher level than than actual tradition. But they say it's clearly not. When you see the real stuff, you know it's not even comparable. One of them is full of confusion and just weird ideas and that are not practical. It's never practical too. It's always, if you follow that line, you literally end up in hell or in exile or something. And but real traditional knowledge is based in reality. You know, it's based in nature, in practice, in tradition. So again, I was the first author who had that mindset. Later, I kind of turned away from Guénon because, well, because he's not a Christian. I guess it's not a detail. In the end, it's not a detail. Um, and he's a little too maybe logical for me now. Now that I've developed more of a, what we were saying before, a caveman mind. I have now a caveman mind, and it's better than my mind used to be. So once I started developing that mind, the practical mind, or natural, let's say, the natural mind, I became less interested in Gano. I'm not so interested in Gano anymore. Although I acknowledge his importance, you know, I acknowledge in my life he's important, and I think in culture is important because he has this bravado. You know, Gano is this, because I read him in French too. I don't know how he sounds in English, but in French he's got this confidence. You know,
Hmm.
Because it takes that too, you're being attacked by everywhere. You're being attacked by materialists all the time who are extra self confident. You need something to counter that, and I think Guénon is that voice. Is like really confident, ultra confident. You don't mess with that with Guénon. You know what I mean? He's the way he talks is really like he's also kind of pointy. He's a little bit he's got some
Yeah.
weapons against materialism. Let's say he's not just talking about symbolism; he's also attacking materialism,
Yeah.
which
Well,
is a part.
we're big appreciators, supporters, venerators of Father Seraphim Rose, who was I don't know if you're aware of this, but he was actually introduced to Orthodoxy through Guénon. He came to similar to what you're saying, like that was kind of his gateway into thinking about reality in a pre-modern context, and you can even tell the influence from Guénon and from his writings, like he writes very similar with this very kind of confident, like pointed, you know. I don't want to say like condemnation, but he's just very assertive in what is true. But yeah, so and actually, I'm glad that we read your book after we read The Crisis of the Modern World, which was, I think, last summer we read it. And there was also a lot of great insights and comments to that. And particularly, about his, like he kind of gets into, I think towards the beginning, similar to you, how it's like breaking down the cosmological models. So, the Copernican and the Ptolemaic worldviews, and which I think is a great way to kind of frame like these two ways of thinking. And I don't know if you want to say two ways of thinking, like it's dualistic or something, but just looking at it from the context of like this was how people understood the cosmos prior to the Copernican revolution. And there's actually a great, this is like seemingly unrelated book, but I just read this yesterday and I thought that it related so well to this conversation. It's a book called Occidental Eschatology by Jacob Taubes, who's actually I think he's a Jewish intellectual, like that writes about Jewish eschatology. But this is a very, I think this gets at the heart of what we're talking about here. He's saying in the Copernican worldview, the world there is, in the Copernican view of the world, there is an earth but no heaven. The earth mirrors no heaven, and the reality of the world is gained by Copernican man, not by having the world emulate a superior archetype, but by revolutionizing the world in terms of an ideal that lies in the future. The Ptolemaic world is ruled by Platonic concept of eros, which attracts the lower sphere to the upper sphere. The Copernican world is ruled by the spirit, which invariably presses ahead. The ethics of Copernican man is an ethics of the future, as heaven above has lost its moral significance. The moral will is focused on the future because the Copernican realm has been emptied of its meaning. Fulfillment for Copernican man lies in time and hence in history. I thought that just like related really well, especially with your the way that you describe time and space.
Yeah. People don't often think. Well, some people do, but most people don't think about the implications of these systems. Of these changing from, let's say, uh, flat Earth
Yeah,
perception to around Earth. But it all goes together because it's when materialism creeped in. So it's like it's kind of logically going towards materialism, basically. But if you use a symbolic lens to think about the implications of going from a flat Earth worldview to a round Earth worldview, let's say you use symbolism to see
yeah,
what are the implications, then yeah, that's kind of what the quote you said was doing there. It's like you see this change of perspective or this change of worldview had massive implications for spiritual life, because they don't care about that because they're materialists. But if you do care about that, it's worth thinking about, like, what are the implications of space? Let's say, you know what I mean? Space,
yeah,
outer space. What are all the implications spiritually of that, like symbolically? And I haven't thought about that, like systematically. But I often have insights about how this idea, this world. view that we have now has really negative spiritual implications. None of it's
Hmm.
good. It's like the idea of outer space and all that stuff. Like if there's they make a narrative in which aliens come from outer space, it's like, to me, that has significance. It's like the outer world is reaching to us. It's not positive. It almost like it has a demonic symbolism.
Hmm.
Basically, it's like the outer darkness, and then entities are coming in from there. It symbolically it represents, yeah, like the forces of darkness basically coming to us. So if that's the plan, if they plan on making this alien visitation or whatever, whether it's true or false, or whether it's just a narrative or not, the symbolic implications, I think, are pretty big. It's like we should be rejecting that stuff just based on that. It's like it's not even about if it's true or not. Like if it's a fake alien
Yeah.
visitation or if it's a real one, it's just either way,
It's
the
the discourse. It's
implications
the fact that the
are dark.
discourse is occurring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Why would we want to be visited by aliens? It's like even
Yeah.
the word alien means
Right.
foreign. It means
Yeah.
strange. It means not us, basically. So it's like, if you understand symbolism, you understand that that's not a good thing necessarily to be visited by a foreign influence like that. It's not going to end well. If it's true, it's not going to end well, and even if it's false, that narrative would become the leading
Yeah.
narrative,
Yeah. It's like
and we'd have to
why
accept
are
that.
they visiting us? Like there's
Yeah,
something in it for them to be visiting us. So that yeah, that's what it implies. It's like there's something that they're uh, that they're seeking that we presumably have that they're after. Like whether it's good or bad. Yeah. It's like
yeah,
yeah, it's those realms intersecting. Yeah. Um, yeah, so I want to open things up here. So if you guys are able to hear us again, and you're joined here in the room, feel free to just kind of jump in if you have questions or comments or anything. I
Uh,
don't. Yeah, go
I was
ahead.
wondering, Matthew, if you could also look at this Copernican revolution as a source of renewal, because, as you say,
yeah,
it's like the time is both a source of death and rebirth, right?
yeah.
So
I agree.
could
It
it add
is.
something to the other worldview as well?
Yeah. I absolutely agree. I think it is a source of renewal. I agree, and I think that's what kind of we have to do. We have to make it into a source of renewal. It's
Right.
like when the forces of death are attacking you, you have to do like a something to change it into renewal. It's like change death into sleep, basically, something like that. So any
Mm.
attack that anyone can attack us with, we can always change it into renewal, always. But it's not like the attack itself doesn't need to be seen as good, though. You see what I mean? It's like
Right.
it's
Right.
only good because we do this operation where we could say through Christ we could do this. We could change death into renewal. That's what I think, and I think Christianity has everything we needed to do that. It's like we have the understanding to do that operation of changing death into life, and I think we have to do that. Like, I'm not claiming I know how, but I agree that when your enemy attacks you, it's a source of renewal. That's what I'm saying. But
Hmm.
it's not. It's like we have to do something. We're not going to thank our enemy for attacking us. That's what I mean. It's like I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to thank the people who killed Christ. Let's say, it's not, their intention was not to bring renewal. Their
Right.
intention was
Right.
to destroy him. And so we can thank God for that, the resurrection. But it's like I don't want to do the error of thanking my enemy.
Hmm.
You see what I mean? Like, because it's a possible error that people could make, where you start thanking death, or you start thanking your enemy for trying to kill you because it brought you renewal. No, no, no. I'm always going to see that it's God that operates it. It's not. I'm not thanking my enemy. It's kind of like Joseph when he was sold into Egypt. At the end there, it's not going to thank his brothers for doing it, even though the result was positive. It's like the end result of Joseph being sold into Egypt was that it saved their lives, but nobody's going to thank the brothers that sold him into slavery. You see, we're going to thank God that God turned this evil into good. I think that's literally what it says there, even in the text.
Hmm.
So anyway, I just want to make that specification because I think it's important because people are getting so crazy now with their mind all confused that people can start saying things like, it's good the snake is good. It's good that the snake tricked Adam and Eve. There's a way to understand that, but it's through Christ. That's it. It's like I'm not gonna thank the snake.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna thank the snake. Like you could make a brass version of the snake and hang it on a pole and use that to heal people, but I'm still not thanking the snake. You see what I mean? It's like I'm thanking the God that told me to make the brass snake on the pole, and the snake I'm still gonna step on its head. You know what I mean? Because it's important to understand that, because I think Satan is gonna use imagery in Christianity too to trick people, making us believe, for example, that the snake in the garden was good. So that's, I think, is very dangerous. We just have to be careful about that. Anyway, I just wanted to say that.
Or that the knowledge of the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil is good, and that's like kind of that's what we've been after this whole time in human history, like the gnosis, basically, like kind of seeking gnosis as this higher, like kind of like as this highest level of ascent, is like to just achieve this kind of ultimate state of knowing everything. You see this in the pre-modern worldview. There was this whole notion that you could actually attain all of the knowledge in the world through like studying, like just from acquiring it from reading books and stuff. And then there's also the kind of like what you call metacognition. Well, it's not really your term, but looking at things in a metacognitive worldview that has been completely gutted from the modern cosmological framework. That also ties into Guénon. He talks about that a lot. How this crisis of the modern world ultimately is a complete loss of the metaphysical way of viewing the cosmos. Like it's a complete loss of that kind of metacognition, and viewing things in like the way that you put them in that hierarchy of corporeality. Like that's gone. It's all just dark now. It's all just like the dark matter, like
meaningless matter, basically.
Yeah.
It's not an insult to them. It's not to materialists. It's not even an insult when I say meaningless matter. That's what they aim for.
Yeah.
It's weird, huh? When you think about it,
it's because their role is to ascribe meaning to it.
Yeah.
And this was like another thing that came up often when we were reading this during our meetings. This relates to what you're talking about with magic. There's a distinction when it comes to theurgy, because some of the stuff that you're writing about here with the man's role as the mediator can be conflated. I'm not saying it's because of the way you wrote it, but like I think people may look at that if they have an esoteric understanding and ascribe that to kind of like a form of theurgy. And so a lot of the conversations involved like, what is the distinction between the more magical view of theurgy and like the man acting as a mediator? We talked about that a bit. I mean, it's not really like the theurgic aspect in the esoteric sense is assuming that there's that mirror of the divine and the earthly world, like the earthly realm, and that man's job as the magician is to actually act as the mediator in the sense that like the as above, so below kind of thing, where it's like your changes that you enact in the material world can actually reflect the divine, and then vice versa. Like that's kind of the distinction there. But
yeah. I mean, one of the distinctions, I think, I kind of talked about a little bit at the beginning. One of the distinctions is that the magician deals in subtle reality. Really, that's where his power comes from. So if you think of my book, I talk about time and space. Time is what I called it time, but it's not really time. It's like referring to a level of reality. We could call it subtle reality. We could call it that too. It's like the realm of subtle influences, and I call it the flooded world too. It's the flooded world. So this is like the world of subtle influences, and that's when there's no clear or no fruitful connection between matter and meaning. And yeah, you're right. Materialism is like an intermediate step towards this level. It's like reaching this level of subtle reality, and in that level, people can act as magicians. So it's like this is something not many people understand. Like magic comes from exile. It's important to understand this. It's like this is why they represent. The first time you talk about magic in the Bible is in Egypt, right, with the magicians of Pharaoh. It's because there's a link between exile and magic, the practice of magic. It's related because exile is when you don't have a clear meaning. It's when you're serving foreign principles. It's when you're in exile. You're serving strange things, or you're serving the unknown things. So it means the connection between meaning and facts is not clear. And so this is why miracles happen. Like people who perform miracles are usually in exile, even when they're saints. Like even when people are saints and they perform miracles, the miracle is actually related to their state of being usually poor, or being wandering, or being like solitude sometimes. Or if it's in a community, it's still usually like a poor community. It's because being poor is kind of like a level of exile. When you're poor, you don't control things. It's just an important idea that magic actually comes from exile. So people who perform magic end up in exile, and people who are in exile can have the possibility of doing magic. And that's why Moses, he does magic in exile. See, that's basically where it comes from. It comes from God, though. That's the thing. That's what's difficult to explain to people. It's like what's the difference between miracle and magic, right? It's a good question that people might want to ask at one point, right? What's the difference? It's actually hard to tell the difference, really. And that's why magic is kind of dangerous, because you could get tricked by magicians who pretend to perform miracles, but they're actually not. They're manipulating according to their own will, or according to the will of a fallen entity. They're manipulating reality through subtle mediums. They create subtle mediums, and then they act on that, and then they could perform what we call magic. But Moses is similar what he does. You see, it's actually important to understand the difference. Like in the case of Moses, he receives the staff that changes into a snake. He does do something that looks like magic, but actually it's miracles. And one of the things he can do that the magicians of the pharaohs can't do is to separate things according to their righteousness. So it's like Moses can do a plague on Egypt, and then the people of God are spared. So it's like that's the difference. That's what the magicians can't do. As the magicians, what they do, we see it in the story. It's pretty clear. It's like they do stuff in subtle reality, and then it ends up turning against them. So that's one sign if someone's doing magic. What he does, he casts his spells, and his spells turn against him. It's usually because it's a wizard. It's not someone performing miracles. It cancels itself out.
They're harnessing a power they don't actually have control over, and they can't control. They can't control the outcome.
And there's like a shape to this power. There's a basic shape to it, and it's the cycle. It's like it's all based on the idea of the cycle. It's like you could create some illusions with the cycle, but then at one point it'll cancel itself out. And then when you see the canceling out happening, then that's like a wizard or something. Whereas Moses, he uses what looks to be magic, but is actually miracles, and then it has a positive end result, and the people of God don't get the plague, they don't get injured, and then the result, because he's doing it for a different reason. He's doing it to separate himself from that. You see, he's trying to separate himself from exile. He's trying to get out of exile. And that's why his miracles are good, because the result is good. The end result from God also, obviously. But how can you tell? That's the question. Because it's easy to say one's from God, the other's not. But how do you know that when you...
Did he just freeze?
He froze, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I mean, he's outside, so
Right.
we'll just wait for... Hopefully he kicks back in here. Someone doing magic over here. Oh, he just got cut out. All right, well, we'll wait for him to pop back in. I'm sure he's got shaky connection. He's seemingly out in the wilderness there in his truck. And there was a question that came in on Substack, and I hope you guys can hear everything. If you can't, you can't hear me. But yeah, I've been told it's this. You're here now, yeah.
You're back.
You dropped for a sec. We're back.
Okay, one second.
Oh. Returned from exile. Opera works, Brave didn't. Okay, interesting. Well, yeah.
Yep.
It's entirely my fault. It's my
That's
connection
all right.
just dropped because
No worries.
I'm on a public connection.
Yeah,
basically.
you're out in the wilderness there. Yeah, you were in exile.
There's so yeah, basically that's all I want to say about that. There are differences between miracles and magic, which is basically what you were kind of talking about there. But I don't think it's that easy to tell the difference. But I think the Bible tells us, anyone who's interested in that, like, it's not something I've looked into that much. I'm interested in it, but it's like an avenue of research, really, if we want to know, because I have a feeling we are going to have to know this stuff soon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's like if we listen to prophecies, the Antichrist is going to do some magic. He's going to do some of the
we talk about that a lot. I mean, I happen to think that that's going to involve. I mean, I don't even like to presume anything about that, obviously, but the way things are going, I wouldn't be surprised if those quote miracles, those false miracles, the magic, whatever, involved technology. Like when you look at some of the stuff like Elon Musk talks about, and he uses miraculous language. Like he'll say that the Neuralink is a form of like digital telepathy. Like he's talking about it as like I think the next project is called Blind Sight, and he's going to try to heal the blind with technology. They'll be able to see things with some kind of brain implant or something. And so how are materialists going to be, when you have the entire Western world is materialist, how are they going to be deceived by false miracles? It's going to have to involve some kind of like intersection of material, some kind of material perception of a miracle, right? Like there's going to have to be that kind of thing happening. That's just my thinking. Again, I don't want to presume anything about how the Antichrist is going to operate, but I think you're right there that it's like,
I agree with what you're saying. I think it'll be both, but like you said, I don't know. I don't quite to know, what's coming, but I think we still have to think about it, even though we can't know, so that we can have at least a little bit of
pay attention to the language and the way that they're framing these things. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we do have to know, it's like we have to get kind of ready to understand the differences. Like I was saying, it's because it's easy for Christians to say, well, that's magic. I know, because it's not Christian, but that's not convincing to anybody else but Christians. You see what I mean? So it's like, if we want to have some kind of impact in the world, we have to know and be able to say, like, why is this one not okay? Why is it okay when Moses calls down fiery hail from heaven, and why is it not okay when somebody else does it, some magician or something, or does something similar, let's say, because that's always the thing. It's similar. It's not the same, but it's similar. It looks outwardly the same sometimes.
Or kind of the entire basis of this notion of the manipulation of divine names, it derives from the prophet. Is it Elisha? That there's this story. There's this actually pretty odd story where there's a group of children making fun of him because he's bald, and they're like saying, calling him bald man or whatever, and he invokes the divine name, and bears come out of the woods and maul the children.
Yeah.
And so this becomes the entire basis of like the tradition of Jewish magic, where it's like it's this dialectical kind of like gray zone, I guess, where it's like, well, yes, there's a prohibition against curses, but we see in the Bible that that there's at least one prophet who who uses the divine name as a curse to manipulate reality and the outcomes of reality.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's absolutely not easy to tell the difference. Like we can't pretend that it's easy. But I agree, it's used as an excuse. Any entry point that can be found in the Bible to justify magic and things like that will be used. That's what I think, by the Antichrist. He'll know. That's why we got to prepare.
Mm-hmm.
We got to prepare our minds for this stuff, because they will use the Bible. They will use it to justify their, kind of like what you just did there, but you were doing it obviously as an example. You weren't doing it, but you were showing an example. But that's exactly the kind of example that might be used to show, oh, what you call magic is just miracles. You just don't like me because I'm not on your side, or you just don't like me because I'm not, part of your group. Because the criteria can't be just, if he's in my group, it's good. If he's not, it's bad. Because you see what I mean? Like, that's not convincing to anyone. It's like, it just sounds like you're being double standards. You have double standards or something. So
it's very convincing to us, though.
Yeah. It is convincing. I agree. It is convincing. But if you want to convince also others, right? But I agree, that is the criteria. I agree.
Well, look at Peter Thiel doing courses on the Antichrist. Like, you have a technocrat teaching courses on the Antichrist. He's using the Bible. I mean, that's a good kind of like example of that.
They're going to use the Bible for sure.
I have a totally unrelated question. I mean, it's pertaining to the book. In the chat, in chapter 69, Pageau writes about cooking in blood. Is it not permitted to ever eat raw meats? I've personally found my health improved since eating more raw meats from healthy, high quality animals, of course. Okay, I don't, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
It's related to what we're talking about now. Actually, it's related to magic and all that stuff. I mean, the reason is not health related. That's the answer to that. I mean, I don't even know if, as Christians, we have to follow these kosher laws. I'm not so sure about that, right? We can eat blood. I think it's not. I don't think it's forbidden in Christianity to eat meat with blood in it. But if we want to talk about, regardless of that, let's say, if we want to talk about the meaning of it, it's related to magic. This blood eating, this blood drinking stuff. It's because it's subtle influence.
Yeah, that's right.
It's about subtle influences. So it's like the blood represents the subtle influences of a person or an animal. It's in the blood. It's like
the life. Yeah, the life
is in the blood. When it says the soul, it means something like the animus or something like that. It's like the animal soul. It's not the spirit. It's not like the intellect or something like that. It's like the energy. It's like the subtle energies of an animal. That's what's in the blood. And so you don't want to drink that. It should be obvious. I mean, if we're not materialists, it should be obvious you don't want to drink blood. Because if the spirit or I don't know which word to use anymore, but it's like some of the patterns of this animal are in the blood. That's what it means, basically. Some of the feelings or the emotions or the energy of the animal is still in the blood in its subtle form. So if you drink it, the idea is you'll receive some of that influence in you. So it's like you don't want to drink tiger blood, because the tiger might actually be stronger than you. So if you drink this thing, it'll take you over. You might start having emotions of a tiger, or you might start having mind patterns of a tiger. You might start thinking like a predator, You might become a cannibal, you see, because tigers can eat humans. So you might start thinking maybe eating human flesh ain't so bad, I'm using dumb examples here, but I'm trying to illustrate a point here. It's like the idea is in the blood there's some of the animal.
Yeah.
Not just the flesh, not just the meat.
Yeah. Again, this stuff sounds this sounds crazy from a materialistic worldview.
Absolutely.
But yes, there is. I mean, like, again, for most of human history, this is how people thought of blood. That it had some metaphysical property that you were consuming that transformed you in some metaphysical way.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the animal is in there. That's it's easy to understand, really, when you say it like that. And it's not his flesh, because is flesh. We know what the flesh is. It's the meat, but some of the spirit of the animal is still there, and if you eat it, you consume that, and then maybe you'll get taken over by it. That's the idea,
In
basically. You could get taken over.
Leviticus, it also says that God has given blood to make atonement for the soul. So does it?
Yeah.
How do you? Yeah.
But you
How do
don't
you
drink.
understand that? Right.
You're
Why does
washing yourself with it, basically.
Okay.
It's something like that. It's a complicated issue. I have to admit, I don't understand all of the implications of animal offerings. I honestly don't think many people do. I think it's a weird practice that we lost. But yeah, you're not supposed to drink the blood of the animal, though. You're supposed to like use it to clean your. It's like a cleaning. You use it to clean. It's related to nature and stuff. I could say a little bit what I do understand. It's about forces of nature. Often it's related to that. It's like when you said he calls on God and then a bear comes. Okay, it's like his nature is like magic is related to nature. I know sounds weird when I'm saying, but it's the subtle influences are related to nature. They're in nature. Nature means you don't control it. So that's why magic is in nature, because it's the stuff that you don't control, but you can manipulate it. That's what magicians do. They manipulate these forces of nature. So it's like you could call upon a bear to go maul some kids, like you said. It's an example, okay? Samson does it too. He uses animals as weapons, right? He ties the tails of some foxes and puts some fire on their tail, and then they go light the fields of his enemies. It's not considered magic, but the symbolism is the same. He's using the influence of nature as a weapon. So that's basically what it is. It's the idea of blood is related to that. It's like natural influences are in the blood, so you don't want to drink that. You don't want to turn into an animal, something like that. It's like you don't want to turn into a werewolf if you drink blood of an animal. It's like you might turn into a wild beast or something. That's really what it means. But washing yourself with it is not the same. Mm-hmm. You're not consuming it. You're letting it remove what's, let's say, the dirt that you have, stuff that's not human. The nature takes that away with it. It's something like that. It's the same reason why water cleans. I mean, if you think about water carries foreign substances from us. That's why we wash ourselves with it. We put water on ourselves because it takes in it the foreign stuff and carries it with it. Okay, but there's two sides to that, you know. It means magic is water is also related to the idea of magic and all that stuff. It's related to the idea of foreign influences. So that's why also a lot of the miracles of the first miracle of Moses is related to that. It's like changing the water into blood. It means something. It means like now this water has a foreign influence in it, has an influence in it, something like that. So it's all related. So I don't know if that answers the question about the blood, because what basically I'm just contouring his question by saying it's not about health, basically, is what I'm doing. So I am answering it, but it's not really maybe satisfying for that person. I don't know.
I also have a question about Samson, actually. It's in one of your footnotes on page 154. You say that the use of cyclical powers in warfare is the main theme of the book of Judges. The stories of Samson or David are elaborate descriptions of cyclical power and their mysterious role in creation. Samson represents the cyclical powers of the sun, and David represents the cyclical powers of the moon. So the question is what do you mean by sun and moon there?
What do I mean by sun and moon?
Yeah.
Man,
like symbolically?
Yeah. Well, I think that there's like sun. The sun, when we talk about the sun, the sun just showed up there, but maybe he doesn't want me to talk about it. Yeah, that's maybe too much of a big question to get into here. Actually, I'm sorry. I could say a little something. Maybe it's like the sun is fire, basically, and the moon is water. We could say it's related.
Yeah.
So the difference between the two is one of them is about healing and the other one is about destroying. So in these stories, that's clear. Samson is a destroyer. He's not a healer at all. So he's all about destroying things, using cyclical powers and using nature, the power of nature. So Samson's a destroyer. That's kind of what it means to be a solar influence in that case. And David is not. David is a healer. He plays music and he heals Saul. And he still has some power to destroy, though, but it's not the same thing. We can see it in those two stories. It's actually pretty clear. I don't know if that answers your question, but it's too big. It's kind of too big a question. Yeah.
Will it be in your next book?
I don't know yet. Maybe.
Okay.
Oh, well, there's a comment from Gordon and saying Adam equals light equals lion equals fire equals consumption, which equates
Is that
to the
supposed to be like
sun.
gematria or something?
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
Eve equals reflection equals. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, okay. I don't know. Maybe.
Wait. Is he doing gematria or is he just?
I don't know. There's no number. There's no numerology. I don't know where that's coming from. I think he's just relating the concepts.
Okay. Well, can you read it again then? Maybe.
Adam equals light equals lion equals fire equals consumption, which I guess is equal to the sun, and then Eve equals reflection equals ox equals water equals eaten, which relates to the moon.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, it's like sure. Yeah.
I thought at first it was like gematria, and I was
no,
thanks.
There's no schizo numerology. And then Will has a question. He's saying, I'm curious what Matthieu thinks of the magical relationship to technology in terms of the spiritual influence, bringing it into the material. Also thinking about nature of quantum computation and the spiritual implications. That's a big question.
Well, yeah, I could say what I think. It's not much, but I mean, I think the whole quantum thing is just either describing to us what I was talking about before, which is what I call in my book the flooded world, or the world dominated by time. They're describing to us this indefinite world. That's why it's like they keep talking about now quantum fields and all this stuff. It seems to be the moment when science entered into the subtle realm. That's what it looks like to me. It's like I haven't studied this discipline at all, but from what I hear, it's like they suddenly entered into the subtle reality when they started talking about quantum physics. And all of a sudden, it's like we're in a cyclical realm of what we perceive influences what happens. I call that, I would say that's pretty subtle realm, when just looking at something affects it. You're in subtle reality right now. I mean, that's not how the normal world works. You know what I mean? So I think in science, what they call quantum stuff is basically, they're describing what I'm describing in my book, and I'm calling the dominion of time, or calling the dominion of the cycle or flooded world. So that is important, I think. I don't know what they're going to do with that stuff, but it's like they're changing the world into subtle reality. And I think it's related to magic indeed. They are going to use, I think maybe they already are. We don't know. We don't know what the heck they're up to. We have no idea really. But it looks like they are up to maybe some magic dealing with quantum stuff. I'm not going to pretend I know how it works or anything like that. But from what I perceive, that's what's going on.
Well, it reminds me of that famous quote from Arthur C. Clarke that Elon actually loves to use. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I guess if it's complex, like the reason I would say is because if it's complex enough, you don't know.
Yeah, it's perception.
Causality.
It's so complex that we perceive it as magic. That's
yeah.
kind of like what AI. Like AI really is. Ultimately, it's very simple. It doesn't work. It doesn't function any differently than standard computation, where there's, an data input, and then, some computational level processing of that data, and then an output. That's all AI is, but it's just the complexity that occurs within that computational part. that we perceive it to be magical. Like we're actually now talking to some kind of entity, that's got a personality, but it's just it's ones and zeros.
It creates like a black box, basically. Yeah. It's like you put something in the black box, something comes out. It's like the rabbit out of the hat, basically. It's like we don't know. The fact that we don't know how it works makes it magic. We could say it like that. I kind of agree with that. And I agree because at a really deep level, this is actually really important. The idea of dealing with the unknown is really, I think, really important. And we should understand this. Because we were talking before about what's the difference between miracles and magic, let's say, but it's related because there's this thing you can do where you bind yourself to the unknown. Okay, I could even give examples in the Bible. Like when someone makes an oath to the unknown, okay? It happens in the book of Judges. He like says, I promise to give my daughter in marriage to whoever can defeat this giant. And it's about giants too. It's about Nephilim, basically. Whoever can defeat this giant, I promise to give my daughter to. So that's something you don't want to do. It's an example, okay? Because why would you do that?
It's like a random guy. Yeah, it's just someone random. Yeah,
you're binding yourself to. Wow. It's like you're signing a contract and you don't know what the contract is.
It's like it's chaos. It's
and that it's related to what magic is actually about. Okay, because it's like you're binding yourself to something unknown. And so in this story we see, it's meant to teach us a kind of a lesson. Because what happens is his brother is the one who defeats the giant, right? It's his brother. And so it's like a borderline case of incest here, right? It's like, oh, now he's going to be married to his niece. So I'm not even sure if in the Bible that's forbidden or not, but even if it's not, it's a borderline case, obviously. And then it's meant to help us understand, like, what would have happened if his son would have defeated the giant? He would have had to marry his son to his daughter, right? So if that makes sense, what I'm saying is you don't want to bind yourself to the unknown like that. Never do that. It's a really dangerous thing to do. But that's what people do when they do magic. They bind themselves to the unknown. And it's like, look, here's an example of that. Okay, it's really important for our times. One of the things that's most popular today in culture out there, even people in the elite too, is they do things like, the law of attraction. I know that's cringe, but they don't call it the law of attraction. That's just like a low level. It's like a low level example of it that's out there. The secret, the law of attraction, all that stuff. But they do practice this stuff. It's like you pray, you ask for what you want in the universe. You meditate and then you ask for something, and then it manifests. Well, lots of people are talking about this today. It's like a really popular thing. But the problem with that is they never ask themselves, who's answering the demand? Who's answering? So it's an example of binding yourself to the unknown, okay? Yeah. You're binding yourself. You're asking for something. Because when you ask for something, there's a law in the universe. We could say, if you ask for something, then whatever answers is legitimately doing something legitimate. He's not being a criminal. It's like if I open my door to anyone and they come in, they're not a criminal. They didn't come in a criminal way. I invited them in. So that's what people are doing now. They're inviting in whatever can answer their requests. They're inviting them in.
Strange gods.
We don't know who. Yeah, we don't know. It's like, it's a stupid thing to do when you really think about it, but nobody is thinking about it, which is weird. So it's like, if you pray to God, you're asking a question to God, or you're asking for help or whatever, you know who you're talking to. You know who. And you go through Christ, right? So Christ. There's things you don't ask God because Christ would not agree. It's like I wouldn't even ask God for money. It's like, oh God, I wish I had $2 million. Why would I not do that? Because I know Christ is looking at me like, you know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't fit with Christ. Christ gave us some criteria to what can you ask for to God. It's not, you can't ask for everything, God, make this girl fall in love with me. No, God's not going to do that. You see what I mean? It's like, there's things you can't ask God because God has already established boundaries of what's good and what's not, right? And this is why people who do the law of attraction thing, they're not asking anyone specifically. They're asking in the void I want this thing, or I want money. Some people do literally ask for money, which is the funniest thing I've ever heard.
It seems to be mostly that, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like success. It's really tied to like business success and career success. Yeah.
So
and it's actually that's actually a kind of a new age form of invoking the divine names. It's like it assumes that there's mystical properties within the words themselves that you can invoke reality. You can manipulate realities by invoking these words. Like a lot of it is like envision yourself as you already are rich, and you're just saying I am rich. Like you're saying these kind of like word magic mantras, and
it's actually, I would say, even worse than invoking the divine names, because at least when you're invoking divine names, you know what you're invoking, right?
Or you think you do,
but maybe it's a mistake, but at least your intention is to like, I know who I'm talking to. At least it's not completely absurd. But when you just send it out into the void, it's like, imagine all the demons that are waiting for someone to ask a question, and it's like.
And it's always something materialistic too. Like they would love to prey on that.
Exactly. And so it's like, oh, I'm a demon. Let's say, oh, this guy just asked for this ridiculous thing. I'm going to go answer I'm going to give him what he wants. And now he's bound to me.
Yep.
He doesn't know it, but now he's bound to me because he owes me something now. That's the other thing. Nobody is ever asking, what's the price? It's like everything has a price in reality. We're used to that, right? You want something that has a price. So why do you think if you ask for $2 million, there's no price? You might get your $2 million, but there's a price. You believe me, there's a price. So it's like there's a price. So be careful. And even if the price is just being indebted to something, it's like when you borrow money. I've used this example before. It's like you're borrowing money. Oh, I'm getting free money. No, you're not. You're indebting yourself to this entity, whether it be a bank or whether it be a demon or something. You are now connected to this entity in a really deep way, actually. So when people do these kinds of things, they're binding themselves to the unknown. So maybe if you ask God for $2 million, you're not going to get it because God has certain criteria. And he already told you the criteria that through Christ, he told us what he wants, like what we should ask for. But then, if you really, really want your $2 million, then you ask in the void. And maybe you will get it. Actually, this stuff works. In case, some people tried it and it went crazy, and others people I know. So it's like, it does work. Okay. So the argument against it is not that it doesn't work. Yeah. It's more dangerous because the fact that it works is what makes it so dangerous, because it's spreading like a disease.
The question is, why does it work?
Yeah. And that's what nobody seems to be asking.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's the price? That's the real question you should ask. What's the price? And so the answer is there is a price, and it's probably huge. And I think every time people do things like that, that is what magic is. They're doing magic when they're doing that. So they're making connections to entities. That's what they're doing. And now they're under the influence of certain entities. So it's really dangerous stuff to do. I think in the past, even the non-Christians even knew they would never even have done that. Like even, let's say, someone who follows, let's say, the Greek religion of pre-Christianity or something, they would never have done this. They would have still thought in their head, you have to know who you're asking. So it's like, I'm going to invoke this God. I know this God. I'm not going to just send it out into the void. That's crazy. I think pagans would never have done that. They were too smart. Pagans were too smart. They never would have done something so stupid. But it's like, because we became materialists, we forgot some laws. Let's say, you see what I mean? We forgot some spiritual laws that even the pagans knew. It's like they knew not to ask in the void. So, but then we became materialists, so we forgot. And then now there's a weird spirituality coming back. And now we don't even know the basic rules of spirituality. You see what I mean? It's like, so we're in a really dangerous place right now, because we're coming out of materialism into this confusion. And,
I have a I think somewhat related question to that in the Substack chat from Daniel. He says, how would you frame symbolically from the perspective of a pagan what the foreign Christian missionary? I'm not sure about the wording on that.
Yeah.
Why is a snake? Is this? I don't know if this is two separate questions. Why is a snake not a relational term with the opportunity to be good and bad, or perhaps student in relationship to teacher.
Why am I saying the snake is bad? Is that the question, basically?
I think it seems like there's two. I don't know if Daniel, if you're still there, if you want to clarify, is that two separate questions or do they relate somehow? Because the first one's like about how do you frame symbolically from the pagan perspective, what the foreign.
I think I understand what he's asking.
Okay,
I'll say, and maybe he could say. I think he's saying it's a relative thing. So, like, for the pagans, the foreign missionary was a snake. And so it was good, right? Something like that. And it's a relative term, and therefore there are some good snakes. It's something like that. That's what I'm hearing. Is that right?
Yeah, I think, he said they are related. So maybe, yes, he said yes. Yep. Yeah, you got it.
Good question. I mean, very good question. I don't think missionaries are snakes, though. That's the thing. They don't act like snakes. They don't lie. They don't deceive. Do they?
I guess it depends. It depends what kind of missionary.
Maybe those are snakes.
Yeah,
maybe those are snakes, and maybe they should worry about them. But the saints, they didn't act like snakes.
Yeah,
they were killed for not being snakes. Actually, if they were snakes, they wouldn't have been killed. They would have infiltrated the society, and then they would have done covert stuff for as long as it took to take over, which is what's happening now, basically, is to us. So if you're a snake, you don't present yourself face to face with a person and say, I'm here to talk about God. That's not a snake at all. A snake is someone who enters through a crack somewhere, and then they have their little poison, and then they deceive everyone, and then they bite their heel, and then they put their poison in stuff, and then slowly, gradually, it kills them and turns them into snakes too, because they eat them eventually. But a real saint, a real missionary who's not, let's say, deceiving, he doesn't do that. He goes straight forward. I'm here to talk about God, like the saints. That's what they did, right? And they were killed for it. So it's not a snake at all. It's not true that it's a snake. We know what snakes look like. We see them now. Our society has been taken over by snakes. They're not direct.
Maybe from the pagan perspective, you could say that they were stumbling stones. They came to stumble their worldview.
Yeah, there's a difference between a snake and a stumbling stone. We have to be careful. It's like I've talked about this before: the good stumbling stone, the bad stumbling stone. But a snake is not a stumbling stone. A snake has an intention of its own. Stumbling stone don't have poison in them. They're not trying to eat you. So it's like you got to be careful with analogies sometimes. There is the idea of a good stumbling stone and a bad one, but there are good snakes in the Bible. Okay, this is a really important subject, actually. There are good snakes in the Bible, but you only know after the fact. So it's like Joseph is an example. Joseph, he acts like a snake, that guy. When he's in, I'm talking about Joseph in the Old Testament, not the father of Jesus, not the adopted father, but I'm talking about Joseph in Egypt. He does all kinds of snaky things there to his brothers. It's like he puts the cup in their bag and accuses them of stealing the cup. Mm-hmm. He's like putting false evidence basically in their bag in order to falsely accuse them of trying to steal in order to bring them into exile. That's the snake way. Okay, he's being a snake there. Okay, but he's not a good snake. We can't call him a good snake until the end. That's what that story is all about, by the way. You're supposed to read it. If we didn't already know the story, we wouldn't know if Joseph was good or bad. The whole time, if you didn't already know the story, you'd read it and you're like, whoa, what is Joseph doing? It's part of why it's a good story. You'd be like, Joseph is being a real snake here. I wonder if he wants revenge. I wonder if he's trying to get revenge on his brothers who sold him. That's what you would be thinking if you would read it for the first time. And it's like, whoa, Joseph is being a real snake. What is he doing? What is he doing? He's bad. He's bad. He's bad. He's going to get revenge on his brothers, blah, blah, blah. And then at the end, God, by the grace of God, it was all meant to save them from death. Okay, so Joseph is let's say, a good snake. Okay, but we only know after the fact. But that's important to understand. You only know after the fact. You can't. If you see someone who acts like a snake, you got to treat him as bad. That's the thing. If after the fact God changes it all into good, then you say, okay, good. But that's dangerous stuff, because then you can use that as a justification to start doing snake stuff. You can use that as a justification to lie. Oh, I'm lying, but it's for good. It's really iffy subject, you know. Yeah, the story of Joseph is iffy. It really is. But you know what? They go into exile, and then they do end up in exile, and they do become slaves. So it's a story that's meant to make you think, okay? You're supposed to realize, is it really good? I don't know, because they do end up in exile. They do end up foreign service slaves. That's not good. So thanks a lot, Joseph. You know what I mean? But it's like, but it all started with them selling him into slavery. So that's like the beginning of the evil, and it kind of spread. And God could change anything into good if He wants. God is able to do it, but that doesn't mean we have to start thinking that evil is good. That we should never do that. Like when you see someone lying, you reject. You don't lie. You don't use stealthy stuff. Yeah, I'm saying my opinion here, but I think I'm right. We should not be snakes. If God changes the snake into something good, that's God's responsibility, not ours. It's like God knows good and evil. You see, it's like the story in the garden. God knows good and evil. We don't.
The snake isn't the normative moral example, is what you're trying to say. Yeah, it's an outlier.
I'm saying even worse than that. I'm saying you should treat him as a snake. Always.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it does. Like the snake is a snake. You should be careful. The only time a snake is good is when he's on a pole and he's made of brass. You know, it's like, but that's not actually a snake. This is a mistake too. Sometimes people are like, Jesus is a snake. He's a snake on the cross. No, he's not. He's a brass serpent. A brass serpent is not a serpent, right? I mean, there's a difference between a statue of a serpent and a serpent. One of them is not dangerous. It's like he told Moses, make a brass serpent and put it on a pole, and it will heal you from the snake. And then, but that doesn't mean snakes are good, obviously. It's not because we use the snake as a counterexample that it makes it good. The snake is still not good. The brass snake is good. The brass snake on a pole is good, but not the snake. It's like, we got to be careful with this stuff. And it's the same thing with Jesus. Jesus is a snake on a pole, okay, but he's not a snake. He's the image of a snake on a pole. It's not the same. Was Jesus a criminal? No. But he was treated like a criminal when he was put on the cross. You see, there's a difference. It's like, because I'm seeing some weird stuff on Twitter and stuff, but it's like, Jesus was not a criminal, but he was treated as such. And that's why he was hung on the cross. But that doesn't make him a criminal. He's not a criminal. But the image of it on a cross is what heals. The image of a criminal on a cross is what heals us from a criminal. But Jesus is not a snake. So this is really important.
And it ties into your... I don't know if I recall if you had that in your book, and I just didn't get to it yet because I'm about 3/4 of the way done. I didn't see any that I recall about the brass snake, but I know that you talk about brass, like the brass statue of Nebuchadnezzar. Does that tie in at all? Like the symbology of the brass in particular with the serpent and Christ on the cross?
But the statue of Nebuchadnezzar is gold, though. It's not brass.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
But it is related.
But don't you talk about, you have, I mean, I'm thinking of a different model you have of the different metals, the representation of the different metals. So you have like the brass.
Statue with many metals. Okay, I thought you were talking about the statue that he actually made. You're talking about the dream statue.
Yeah.
Right. The dream statue. It's made of different metals. Is it related to the brass snake? It could be, because it's a dream.
Well, even just that concept of brass, like I guess I'm more broadly asking. Yeah, the significance of brass. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's that clear what's the significance, but I could tell you what I think. It's not based on much. I think it's related to water. It represents water usually, not always, but it's something to do with water. So I think the idea of the brass snake on a pole is related to like a water snake, because the other one is a fire snake. It's related to the question before about difference between sun and moon is kind of related. So it's like the snake that attacked them in the desert were fire snakes, seraph, basically fire snakes. And then, so it makes sense to think that when he made the brass snake, it was like to counter the fire snake. So it's probably something to do with water. I think brass is related to water symbolically, but it's not the only way to interpret it. So I'm just giving my current idea on that.
Yeah, and then okay, well, I'll just I guess read some comments here. Perhaps there's some connection. This is from a bit ago between being willing to bind yourself to the unknown, and then praying for money or influence over people. Early missionaries usually somewhat integrated themselves into the culture first, and then tried to heal the culture from within, as opposed to hijacking the culture through a back door and subverting the culture. How I understand it, at least.
Yeah.
And then he says snake that reveals versus snake that confuses. Yeah, it's like it's looking at it, not just the snake means one thing. It's like there's multiple kinds of snakes. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think the snake. No, I don't agree. I think the snake should never be seen as good. That's just a big mistake there.
Well, I think that it's not saying there's a good snake, but that they serve different. They serve different objectives, I guess. Like there's like you said, a fire and a water snake. That they're both not good, but they have different.
One of them is the image of a snake, and the other one isn't. Like the brass snake on a pole. There's lots of information there. It's the idea that it's visible. Okay, you see it clearly in front of you. It's about raising it to make it visible. A snake that's visible is not dangerous. That's the idea too. But it's also not a snake. It's an image of a snake. It's a brass snake, okay? But it represents the idea that if it's visible and known, then it is a medicine against the snake. Because why? Because you see how it is now. You look at it. You understand it now, how it works. So then you can recognize it when you see it. So then you're not going to get tricked by it. And you're not going to get bitten by it. Because now you know what it looks like. So you see, you know how it acts, you know what it looks like. So
in a sense, it's revealing what's concealed.
Yes, and revealing something dangerous. It's revealing it clearly, because the only power of the snake is its covertness. Snakes aren't dangerous. They're only dangerous because they're hidden. A snake doesn't even go fast. If you see a snake in the street, I'm not scared, even if it's a poisonous snake. You just run away, or you just take a stick and pound it. It's not like a lion. A lion is dangerous. You know what I mean? Like a lion, if you see it, you better run. And even if you run, you're probably he's gonna get you. That's real dangerous. But a snake, if you see it beforehand, it's not dangerous at all. It's not even fast. It's not even anything. It's good for hiding. It's good to hide itself. But what's dangerous about a snake is its hidden aspect. You don't see it before it's too late. When you see it, it's already bitten you. And then you got poison. You see, that's the idea. So in order to fight snake, you put a snake and you put it clearly in front of everyone. This is a snake. This is what it looks like.
Yeah, this is a good clarification. I was actually going to say this too, Gordon, in the chat. He says a brass snake should be like an image of a snake, plus it's a fixed snake. It can't move in curves. Yeah, that's exactly. I was going to say the same thing. It's like it's kind of to use the revealing of the concealment, the snake is able to operate in covertness and concealment because of its flexible nature and the way that it moves and hides. And when you fix it, it exposes its nature. Like you're showing that, like, here is an image of the snake and how it has these properties of curvature and can manipulate. Yeah.
So now see clearly what it looks like, and then when you see it in real life, not just an image but a real one, you'll know it's dangerous. Because knowing it's dangerous makes it not dangerous. Snakes are not dangerous, really. Only when they're hidden. And part of it, by the way, the symbolism of a snake, very interesting. Part of it is it doesn't have legs. You see, that's important. Like, it doesn't have legs. That means something in symbolism. It means, because when you have legs, it means you have members of your body that are willing to follow and some that are willing to lead. So it's like your feet are following you or they're below you. So it's the idea of a hierarchy, basically. Some creatures accept hierarchy, some creatures don't. And let's say deer or any cattle, cows, they accept the idea of a hierarchy. That's why they can be you can be a shepherd to these animals. They'll follow you, As soon as you show leadership to these animals, these herd animals, they'll follow you naturally because it's in their nature to follow the hierarchy. They've got their hierarchical thing in their nature, but a snake doesn't. It's like a snake is not a good leader. It's not a good follower. It's like a solitary creature. Okay, so that's part of the symbolism too of the snake. It's a solitary creature. It can't be a leader. It can't be a follower, and that's why it's dangerous in many ways. That's why we associate Satan with it too, because Satan is kind of like that. He doesn't want to follow anything, and not a good leader either. Satan is not a good leader. He's the kind of leader that'll blackmail you if you don't do what it wants. You see what I mean? That's not what a leader's supposed to do. So it's not a leader really. So this just giving some criteria to recognize what a snake looks like, because there are certain criteria you can tell when you see a snake if you know what it looks like, and I'm just giving some criteria here. A snake is not a good leader. It's not a good follower. It doesn't believe in hierarchy.
Is this also related to the idea of crowning, in that once the thing you take from the bottom and you're able to raise it up to the top of the hierarchy, then it becomes like the fullest expression of, or I don't know, how would you characterize crowning actually?
Well, I would characterize it as, it's a really big question again, but I can say a little what I think. I'm not going to subsume the question. You see, I'm not going to answer the question fully. I never do anyway, but in this case, I can see that I better be careful. It means something like being open to bigger things. That's what crowning is, because it's like when you see yourself as the ultimate thing, God teaches you a lesson that you're not. And then that's like receiving a crown. It's like, now I'm open to, there's something above me. It's one of the meanings of the crown, actually, but it's not the whole meaning. This is what happened to Nebuchadnezzar when he turns into an animal. The reason God does that is because he thought he was it. Nebuchadnezzar, he thought he was the big guy. Nothing is bigger than me. My law is the law. And he needed to learn a lesson, I guess. There's something above you, man. God is above you. There's a bigger law than you. And so God changes him into an animal. And then when he brings him back, we could say he was being crowned there. Now he has a crown because he acknowledges above, I acknowledge God. His law is bigger than mine. It's something like, that's one of the aspects of the crown. It's seeing that you're not complete. It's like seeing your incompleteness, something like that. Right. It's part of it. There's negative aspects to it too. I mean, there's lots to understand with the crown, but I think that's maybe the most important, which is in the Bible. God shows you that you're not the man. Mm-hmm. Something like that.
Do you think that's also the danger with the original sin, is that they wanted the knowledge to take it for themselves, but then that wouldn't have left room to be crowned?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, okay. It's about not. Very well said. It's like the inverse of what I just said. Yeah, an example of the inverse. It's like they were fooled into wanting to be the man, and so we could say they lost their crown in that case. Right. It's like the crown, if they had one, well, they did because they acknowledged God. But it's like their crown fell to the ground. We could say, in that instance, when they when they accepted to eat the tree of knowledge of good and bad, they lost the crown that they had. Now they wanted to be like God, like a competition almost, right? Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I think that's when Adam, we could say, lost his crown or something like that. I never thought of it like that, but it makes sense. Good question, by the way.
There was another comment, like a crown with a cross on it or an icon of Christ on it. If it's something that separates the king from the people, but also reminds him that there's something above him. God, in this case, a more personal example.
Yeah. Said it's both. It's many things. The crown has many meanings, but they're not contradict each other. Yeah. But yeah, it's
so I think in one of the sessions, someone mentioned like even the when you're born, how there's like when you come out head first, and it's called like the crown. Like, oh, you see the crown come out first. Like it's like the first thing that comes out on birth mm-hmm. is a crown.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think actually, I think the crown is not the first thing that comes, but No, it's like getting into metaphysics or something. It's
Well, I
like,
think it's just the name. Like it's what they call it. It's like, oh, it's
no,
the baby's
because the
crowning or
crown is
something.
the
Yeah.
last thing you see, actually, I think. Done. It's over. Like this is the finished product or something like that. But it's a finish. It's like an ornament. When you do an ornament, let's say you build a chair and you make ornaments at the end, you make flowers on it or something. It's like the crowning touch means the finishing touch. Basically, it means it's finished. But it's a kind of finishing that acknowledges an openness to something. It's like the Sabbath is what it represents too. The Sabbath is like the crowning of the creation, but it opens up to something more. It's like it opens up to more because that week is finished, but it opens up to the next week. So it's like a finishing of it and an opening up to
I just read that part. Yeah, the Sabbath as a meta space within the Creator.
Yeah. So So the crown is it's a really important, that symbolism of crown. It's a big subject though. There's lots to understand in it. It's not like easily explainable. You know what I mean? I could talk a little when I know. Like the person that said something about crown was very correct. It's like it separates you from the rest, but it also opens you to a higher thing. And it's probably related. It's like the reason why you get the crown is because you accept that there's things below you and there's things above you. It's kind of acknowledgement of that. You need both.
Yeah.
You know, the idea that I wouldn't follow someone who doesn't follow anyone. You know, I've probably heard that before, right? I mean, and that's why the church is correct and everything. You know, the idea of a hierarchy, the idea is correct because it's like, don't follow someone who refuses to follow. I agree with that. I used to not agree with that. Now it's like a new thing that I'm starting to understand, you know. It's like I see myself as a sinner now, big time, you know. It's like I'm still dealing with that. It's because, you know, I understood certain things, and it's like you have to follow, you know. You must follow. You can't be a solitary snake. You can't be a solitary thing that's doesn't follow and doesn't lead. You know what I mean? Just kind of what I was. Or I'm trying to not to be that anymore. So it's like now I'm acknowledging the church has the hierarchy. You got to be in it. You know, it's you don't want to be a snake. You want to be.
Actually, a good symbolic argument against Protestantism. There's no leader. Yeah, it's just a completely like spiritual anarchy. There's no leader above you, really. You know, you can say you're pastor or something, but not really because you're not under his. Like your pastor tells you something you don't like, you just leave and go to a different. Find a different quote leader. You know, it's like a really not even an appropriate term for that, but.
Yeah. Well, this is what a snake does. You see what I'm saying? When you say a snake, Satan is represented as a snake because the snake wants to eat you. Okay, what does it mean to eat you? It means it wants to turn you into a snake. Because when you eat something, it becomes you, right? It's like if I eat something, it turns into me. So the idea of the snake wants to eat you means the snake actually wants to turn you into a snake. So it's same with Satan. It's like when Satan causes division, trying to cause division in a group or let's say in the church, he does that. He's actually wants you to join him in being a snake, and he wants you to also do what he does, which is cause divisions and you know, make rumors and all kinds of things. This is what Satan does. You know, it's about secrets and stuff. He finds secrets, and then with these secrets, you can cause divisions. And you're right. In the Protestantism, the solution is just to create another church to basically separate yourself, right, from what you were before.
Or another big snake. It's like a big snake that's consumed a bunch of little snakes. It's like
we could say I was fooled by Satan, unfortunately, because that's what happens when you don't want to. I'm talking about myself here, so I'm sorry if I have a weird face when I say, but it's like if you don't want to submit to an authority, you end up a snake.
Well, and this was one of Guénon's big critiques of Western, particularly Protestantism. And it's like, this came in the chapter he wrote about individualism. So he's critiquing Protestantism within a critique of modern Western individualism and saying, and like using it as an example of why it's, why it doesn't work, kind of along the lines of what you're saying. Like because of the lack of hierarchy and the lack of like kind of, obedience and whatnot. So, yeah, I just found that interesting. That was like within the chapter on individualism, and he goes off on it for a while actually in that book. There's like a good, I don't know, 5 to 10 pages where he's just critiquing Protestantism. But yeah, it's a little bit off topic, but I mean, I think that's in relation to the snake and like not having hierarchies and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's related to snake. Yeah, it's related to because the thing is, it's all related to Satan. Yeah, I've been talking about that recently, but it's a really important. So I think we should start to talk about this subject. When I say we, I mean in general, people who are Christian should talk about the subject of Satan more because it's happening. It's like we're in that realm right now. It's everywhere now. It's even conspiracy theories. There's something satanic about it. It's like I don't want to talk about against conspiracy theories because I'm definitely one, but there's something satanic about conspiracies. Okay, that doesn't mean we never should do any, but it can be used in very devious ways, to subvert things too. It could be used deviously. So we have to like be really mindful of that too. You know what I mean? It's like when it's okay to see corruption, but then it's like I don't want to become an agent of Satan when I do conspiracy theories. And I'm talking about myself here because I'm definitely one of those. I don't think it's necessarily evil though, especially now that it looks like we're in an evil system,
Yeah.
But then when you start, it's the problem. It's difficult. The snake is difficult. He swallows you. He swallows us. And then we become agents of that. We become agents of deception. We become agents of doubt of everything. You see what I mean? It's like, it's hard to get out of the snake pattern because the snake he corrupts something. And then if you're not corrupt, you see the corruption and then you want to call it out, which is a normal thing to do, really. You want to call out the corruption. But then when you call out the corruption, you got to be really careful because then you become maybe a snake too.
Yes.
Who's being subversive to the whole thing. It's something I did in the past. I regret, calling out, let's say, it's like I saw some weird stuff in different churches and it's like, I want to call it out. Part of me wants to call it out, I think it's legitimate too, but I don't know how to do it correctly. It's like I don't know how to do it correctly because otherwise I become an agent of Satan who's subversive, really. Because you see, what I noticed at one point is like, let's say you talk against a church, okay? Because you see corruption. You experience it, not just see it or hear about it. You experience it. And then you want to talk about it, but then you realize at one point, the people who are in that church are not interested in hearing what I'm saying. The only people who are interested are the enemies of the church.
Yeah.
The
people in the church think you're a snake.
Yes. And the enemies of the church are happy that you're talking against the church. So
you're vindicating them. Yeah, you're vindicating them because they're seeing like you as an agent of Satan. And so they're like, see, Satan's attacking our church. We're doing something right.
And maybe you are. See, that's the thing. It's like you gotta be. It's not easy. So I realized at one point, it's like I have to be humble. Okay, it's like you gotta be humble. That's like the number one thing. I think it's like I don't know. Keep repeating to yourself that. It's like it's okay to investigate. It's okay to not accept corruption when you see it. But it's like there's a trick in there somewhere, there's a trick. You could become, like I already said, you could become an agent of Satan if you're not careful. If you find pleasure also in like the suffering of people who are called out, or it's an easy place to get corrupted when you start looking at corruption. It should be obvious. When you start looking at corruption, you can easily become corrupt, right? You can easily fall into that pattern of Satanism. Yeah. And then without knowing it, you thought you were going to help, but then you end up being an agent of Satan. It's like, he got me.
This is something I talked about with Nick Hinton. He brought up a really good point about the popularization of conspiracy theories and how the algorithm's almost like favoring them now. Like they're so popular because everyone, and this is really a post-COVID thing. I really saw this happen after COVID when everyone started questioning everything. And now they're questioning everything without discernment and just taking the stance that literally everything's fake and gay. So I'm not going to believe everything. I'm not going to believe anything. And so therefore every conspiracy is true. And then the
Yeah.
algorithm at the same time is promoting that notion. It's just like, it's not, the algorithm doesn't discern. So it's just throwing theories in front of you. And
Yeah.
sort of like borrow from your symbology. It's like a lot of these conspiracies now themselves are snakes, and you
Yeah.
consume them, and then you become subversive by promoting some conspiracy that is actually just not even real. It's a subversive kind of mentality.
Yeah. Oh, let me give you an example. I was just thinking about this today, so I think maybe it's a good time to say this. Yeah, because we were talking about magicians before. Okay, I think the people in power are magicians. Okay, they're
They are.
MAGA,
Yes. Yes, they are.
yeah, magas, and they basically what I'm going to say it as an example. It's an example anyway. I want to explain more generally. 1 second. I think I'm losing my feed here.
You cut out for a sec, but you're here. We got you here, so I don't know if it's on your end.
Yeah. I just had to reconnect there. I think you might lose me still. 1 second. Okay. Am I still there?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'm just want to give an example. So the speculation is not really important here, but I'm still going to speculate a little bit on the fact that that's what's happening now. So I'll give an example. I was saying before that magicians operate on subtle reality. So in order to win, a magician has to transform things that are solid and clear into things that are not clear and not solid and fluid and changing and self-referential. Part of it is self-referential. If you want to like change something into subtle, you make it self-referential and it'll like turn into goo basically. I'll give an example. So let's say one of the most dangerous things happening in conspiracy theory world is to start saying, for example, this person is controlled opposition agent. Okay? Because when you say that, let's say I'll use Nick Fuentes as an example.
Yeah.
Okay? It's not even a reflection of what I think I'm at all. I just
Yeah.
use him as a popular example. Let's say I just say that Nick Fuentes is a controlled opposition agent. Okay? He's pretending to talk against X, but he's actually an agent of X. Okay? You see what I'm saying? I'm not talking. Yeah, when I say X, I mean the variable X. I don't mean X.
Yeah.
I don't mean Twitter. Yeah. So okay. So what happens when you do that? When you start thinking like that with these categories of he's a controlled opposition shill. What happens is, first of all, maybe it's a good idea to think, what if somebody would accuse me of that? How would I get out of that accusation?
Yeah.
So what Jesus says, do unto others what you want done unto you, or something like that, right? Judge a tree by its fruits. You see, it's all anti-Christian stuff. Judge a tree by its fruits. When you say Nick Fuentes is a controlled opposition shill who's actually working for the people who's talking against, you're not judging a tree by its fruits. You see what I'm saying? You're not. His fruits is he's saying this, and I'm saying, but secretly he's working for them. He's secretly working for them. Okay. And then it's like, I'm not judging a tree by its fruits now. I'm judging a tree by he's secretly the opposite of his fruits. That's literally what's going on. So when you start doing that, what you do is, this is good for magicians. This is the world magicians want. They want to operate in this level.
Yeah, it's chaos magic.
Yeah, it's because you've transformed. Now Nick Fuentes now suddenly is a subtle medium.
Yes.
He's fluid now. Because anything he says can't get out of the accusation of being a controlled opposition shill. Don't forget about what he says. He's secretly working for the opposite of what he says. Maybe that's true. That's the thing. It's not even about true or not right now what I'm saying. There are controlled opposition shills. They exist for sure. But when you start thinking like that, when you have this new category in your mind, 10 years ago, people didn't think about controlled opposition shills, right? This is a new thing that's being developed now. We're gaining a snake mind, okay? Our minds are changing into snakes now, which means everything is tactical. Nothing is true. Everything's hiding its opposite. You see what I mean? That's how I define, by the way, when I talk about the time cycle, when I define the what I call the flooded world, the subtle world. That's the characteristic of that world, that level. Everything hides its opposite. Okay? So when you start saying things like what I said, you've just created a subtle being. Now, Nick Fuentes is something that magicians can operate on subtly, and the magicians are better than we are at that stuff. So they know how to make this image, this person. It doesn't have to actually be him. They make straw men too. They make voodoo dolls out of people too. You make a straw man out of this guy, and then you put pins into him, or you could make him dance, and then it's not about him anymore. It's not about Nick Fuentes, the actual individual anymore. It's about this subtle medium that I created. Same thing with Alec Jones. He's a subtle medium. He's like a weird mirror that people see in it what they want, and they use it to cause all kinds of illusions. So that's what's going on right now. Every phenomenon is being transformed into this subtle medium on which magicians can act, and they are acting on it. And people see what they want to see in everything now too, huh? That's part of it. It's like,
Yeah.
I show you something, you see one thing. Let's say I show it to a communist. Let's say I'm just trying to find an example of something very different from you, and he'll see something completely different.
Yes.
Now that's some magic right there. They're doing it. They're transforming our world into subtle reality.
Yeah, and they're questioning. I mean, the Charlie Kirk assassination is a good example of that, because you had people who were they were all trying to one up each other on the conspiracies, and then you had the crowd, kind of one crowd to the extreme was like, well, it didn't even happen. The whole thing was staged. People were saying it was Masonic theater. Like he was wearing a blood packet thing that bursted, and he's really alive somewhere. And it's like they're not even now. We have this element of AI where it's completely causing even more chaos, because you're now questioning things that are real. You're questioning real videos that you see if they're AI. Not even the inverse. Like, most people look at the inverse, they're like, they see the AI and they're like, is this real? But they don't. But then you have this other, like the opposite effect, where it's like you're seeing something that's real and you're questioning if it's even AI. And then you're seeing things that are real, and you're not even confronting the reality versus AI aspect. You're just saying the reality itself is a complete psyop or whatever. And, to your point, it's like you have all these chaos magicians that are, ascribing everyone who is popular promoting conspiracy theories as controlled opposition. But on top of that, what's accelerating all of that is, like I said, the algorithm, the fact that it's popularizing this stuff is causing even more chaos, because the main question people are asking is like, well, why does a person like Candace Owens or Nick Fuentes even have such a large platform if they are so dangerous to the establishment? So therefore they must be controlled opposition.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is
argument. See, that's what they want. You see,
yes.
And it's not even a reflection on, let's say I was talking about Nick Fuentes, let's say we're talking about Candace. It's not a reflection on them at all.
Right.
Actually, I cannot know anything about these individuals. That's the truth of the matter. It's like, even if I see something weird, that doesn't prove anything. Yeah. It's like, I don't need to prove too. That's what they want us to do. It's like they're transforming, like you said, okay, AI makes it so that now we question reality. Everything in reality has a question mark on it. Now think of my book, right? Like, in the subtle realm, matter has question marks all over it.
Yes.
You don't know what it is. Yeah. That's what they're creating, a subtle reality in which they can have power, because magicians have power in this reality because they know how to do. That's what they are. They're magicians. They learn how to operate on subtle reality. So they're cleverer than we are. It's like they're used to this stuff. So it's like we think we're clever because we do conspiracy theories, and maybe we are, but they're a hell of a lot more clever than we are. I can guarantee you, because they've been doing this for years, and so they know what they're doing. It's like, now, okay, let's take an example. What's going on now? Whatever the new thing is for 2 weeks. The Epstein files. Okay.
Yeah.
Now they released the Epstein file. Now, if I think like a snake, I immediately say to myself, why are they releasing it? If they're releasing it, it's because they want to release it. That's the bottom line, They release something because they want. So why do they want to release this thing now? And then now I'm thinking like a snake. You see, I'm not thinking like a normal person because I'm able to think like a snake if I want. You know, you just think strategically, technically. Don't look at the meaning of things. Always look at what's the strategy behind it. And then whenever you find something, you got to put it back in the self-referential loop. So it's like maybe they want to do this scandal with politicians. Maybe they do want that. I think I'm being bad. Like I think I'm being grassroots against the system when I'm interested in this Epstein stuff. But maybe they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
Maybe they want to get rid of some politicians, or maybe
it did come from the government. This is the DOJ that released it. It's like,
yes.
Why? And like, why? My initial thing, because it was all the kind of, at least on my feed, it was all the quote noticers, like talking about all this, J supremacy stuff that was in all his emails. And my initial reaction was like, that's probably on purpose. They probably want to accelerate all the anti-Semitism,
we're supposed to, I understand we haven't been allowed to talk about this subject for years, so people are annoyed, but we're supposed to talk about it now. I guarantee. Right. This is part of a plan. But you see, what I'm saying is when you start thinking like that, it's like a recursive thinking, strategic mind, we could say, okay? Every information is always recursively put back into the algorithm of your mind. And it's like, that's how snakes think, okay? And that's how they think. And see, look, I could give you a snake theory about what they're doing with the Epstein file. You could say, well, maybe now they're getting ready to tell us in some near future that we need an AI governance. And having a bunch of corrupt politicians engaged in all kinds of scandals is a good reason, right? It's like these weak humans, they're weak with their flesh, It's like they could be manipulated by evildoers into being blackmailed and then into being puppeted or controlled by whatever. But the AI, that's not going to happen with an AI governance. The AI is not weak.
It's neutral.
You see?
Yeah.
So I'm just giving you a completely theory off of my snake. I'm using my recursive mind here to produce this theory. It's like maybe they want to do this. And I thought it was funny too that there was like 3 million pages in that ridiculous thing. So it's like, why are there so many pages, right? And you could find different reasons, but it's like one of them could be if you give a lot, then the person assumes that it's a lot. But really, if you're hiding all the important parts, it doesn't matter how much you give.
There could be 5 that are really super incriminating, and they're releasing 3 million, and no one's ever like, oh, what are you keeping from a? Yeah, because like they're appeasing the people who've been requesting it, and they're like, now look, what we dumped 3 million. So what are you guys complaining about?
That's got to be enough.
Yeah.
It's almost like a bad liar who overemphasizes the lie in order to make it pass. But that's actually being a bad liar, in my opinion. It's like, it sounds like a lie when you give me 3 million. Now I'm like, whoa, why is he giving me 3 million? Another reason, which goes with my other crazy theory, is maybe they want people to use AI to go through that stuff. It's like the only reason to go through that stuff is using AI, right? I mean, I don't see how else.
Unless you're going to read it,
things. So it's like, this is like a pre-example of, only AI can fix this mess. You see, it's like putting that idea already in our head. Only AI can fix this mess. Look, you need to use AI to go through all this mess. Maybe we should not. Maybe we should just have AI governance. How about that?
Yeah,
we've been talking about it for months now, and
they're doing the same with immigration. That's what Palantir is behind the whole, AI surveillance for immigration, and then that's how you get the whole right behind it. You're not going to You're not going to protest the ICE operations if they're backed by AI. They have some kind of justification that serves our interests. And that can automate this process of mass deportation.
It's like, we've been talking about digital IDs for a few years now. Well, isn't this a good reason to have a digital ID, Mr. Right-winger? Wouldn't you like the foreigners to be easily identifiable? Of course, you'll have one too, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds to me like a big, gigantic plan, but I mean, I don't know. I don't really know. It's just it seems all fishy to me. It's see, I like the term fishy because it's like, yeah, we're in the water now.
Yeah,
So
it stinks. Yeah,
it stinks. It's fishy. But you see what I was saying before? Part of the plan, I think, is this, that we all develop the snake vision. You know, we all start acting like snakes. I think it's okay to think like a snake, but you don't become a snake. That's what I think.
It's thinking like the snake to identify the snake. Like you're almost you have to think like the snake to make the image of it. You know,
Yeah.
like it's to expose it. You have to think like it, and then create that image of it to show people, like to say, hey, look, this is a snake. You know. But then even that, like it's so recursive. Like it's so recursive because then, you know, you could be deceived into thinking you're exposing, like you were saying before, like if you even take that approach, you could be deceived into thinking you're exposing a snake. Like,
yeah.
So it's very,
you're actually becoming a snake, or you're doing false accusations. You know.
Yeah.
We're in choppy waters right now. I think we're in really, really dangerous waters, and it's hard to know what to do. I think it's like, I don't want to tell people what to do, but I think it's like, go back to reality. I keep repeating that, and it's like, go back to nature, reality, go to church. I'm telling myself that now. It's like, go to church. I used to laugh at that when people said that on Twitter, go to church, you know, because people are using it as a meme at one point. It's like, just go to church, and now I'm saying it to myself. It's like, yeah, just go to church.
Yeah.
You know. Don't be a church.
Be wise as serpents and harmless as doves, right?
Yes, exactly, which is really hard to do, right? I mean, but I think, that's what we're supposed to do.
That's a great
realm.
reference. Yeah, that's a great reference. Like wise as serpents. Yeah, like, but don't be serpents. Be wise as serpents.
Yeah, it doesn't say be poisonous as serpents. Yeah. It says like be clever as serpents, but harmless as doves. Yeah, it's perfectly stated. Right there. All the solutions are in the Bible anyway. I mean, Jesus already defeated Satan. When he says, judge a tree by its fruit, he's already defeated Satan. When he says, do unto others, he's defeating Satan when he says that. He's breaking their recursion, breaking the negative adversarial pattern of recursiveness. That's what he's doing when he's doing that. It's like, judge a tree by its fruit. It doesn't mean that this tree might not be corrupt, but you judge a tree by its fruits, that or else you're going to fall too. It doesn't mean you'll find all the truth by judging a tree. It doesn't say that. He doesn't say, if you judge a tree by its fruits, you'll know everything about the tree. He's not saying that. He's just saying, if you want to be good and not fall for all the traps, judge a tree by its fruits. You see what I'm saying? It's important to understand the difference. And Satan says, eat from the tree of knowledge of good and bad. See? He wants knowledge of good and bad. You want to know something good or bad? Eat from that tree. But Jesus says, no, that's not what you eat from. You don't eat from that tree. You judge a tree by its fruits. It means kind of the opposite of know good and bad. Because it's not for the tree that you're doing that. It's for your own soul.
Well, he recapitulates the tree of life too. So when you consume the Eucharist, for example, that is in the Orthodox tradition, we understand that as the tree of life itself. Like you're consuming the what's represented in the garden that Adam and Eve, were guarded off from consuming.
Yeah.
And actually we have in our tradition that they believe this may be symbolic. I don't know that this can be proven or anything, but that the tree of life was an olive tree, and Christ was crucified on the cross was olive wood, and so he recapitulates the tree of life, and then we consume it. What's that?
Where does that come from?
That's just Orthodox tradition. I don't know that it comes from a particular figure. It's just kind of within the traditions of the church. So,
well, yeah, the cross. Well, I can tell you what I think about the cross. I don't understand it. Okay, I'll be honest, but I understand some. I think, and I think the cross was meant to be a tree of knowledge of good and bad, but then God turned it into a tree of life. So it's like both in a way. It's both, because when you think about it, what's the cross? It's a tree of knowledge of good and bad. a cross in itself. Forget about the miracle of transformation here, okay? Forget about the fact that God transformed something evil into something good. Let's just look at the cross. It's an object of torture, basically, and it's an object of that you use on criminals, right? For criminals. So it's like a test, a trial that you do on someone. It's more like a tree of knowledge of good and bad, in my opinion, the cross, just the cross. But then, yes, I think God transformed it through Christ, like a miracle, transformed the tree of knowledge of good and bad into a tree of life. And so then I think it's correct to say it's tree of life, right? But if we got to be careful. See how it's not easy. The cross in itself is not a tree of life. Obviously, it's a tree of death. You see what I mean? But with Christ on it, and the resurrection and God's grace and all of that, then it's a tree of life.
Yeah, that's why we emphasize the recapitulation aspect. He's recapitulating something that was corrupt or was, evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the cross in itself is tree of knowledge of good and bad, but with Christ on it and everything that we know with resurrection and all of that, then it's tree of life.
Oh, that's a good observation there, Gordon. A dead tree, a cross, plus a dead Savior, Jesus, two self-denying elements of straight and curved truth that provide an image of eternity.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, because the resurrection is definitely about curved.
Yes.
The resurrection is about curved. It's like you're coming back,
Yeah.
Got to make a circle there.
This might be a big reach, by the way. No, you're in this is a safe space for reaching, I think. So, all right. I thank you I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I know it's been 2 hours. You're in your, out there in the cold in your van or your truck or whatever.
If you make me talk about Bible, it's like I'm not there.
Well,
like,
I did. So I want to make sure we haven't gotten any other questions lately. If you guys are still tuned in on Substack, get your questions in now, so we can get them addressed within the next 5 minutes or so. But I did want to. I think some of the guys were curious about because I kind of teased them a little bit about your take on the mark of the beast. Because when we were talking privately, you were explaining it to me, and it was like, whoa, like this is I've never heard this before, and that's a lot to take in, and I wasn't able to articulate it. So, and I know that's something you're working on right now, right? For your next book, is that something you're still kind of formulating this? I don't know if it's a theory or Solomon's Gold.
Oh yeah. What I recently wrote. No, that's.
I saw you did a thread on it too.
That's basically what I think about what's going on.
Yeah. You just did a thread on it, right? On Twitter?
Yeah. It's hard to explain better than that story, actually. I think I did.
Maybe I'll link it. If you are okay with it, maybe I'll just link it then in the in the comments, so people can check that out.
I can't explain it better than that, actually, because well, a lot of what I talked about here is in that story. It's like it's about subtle reality can get flipped, can get manipulated by things, and so the dreams. It's about dreams in that story. Dreams are an example of subtle reality that can be manipulated. So, when I used to be interested, I still am, but I started being interested in dreams a long time ago. And then I kept seeing Orthodox people saying, ignore your dreams.
Yes.
I don't know exactly. Can you tell me who said that, like specifically?
Various saints. I know that, Elder Thaddeus wrote a bit about that. I believe Saint Pageau said something about it. That's like a pretty common thing. That's not even strictly like kind of a modern saint's take, but the idea is that I'm trying to remember what exactly with what Elder Thaddeus said in particular, because I thought that one was very powerful. How he described that basically. When you start ruminating over your dreams, that could be exactly why you had the dream. Like for you to be thinking about, like deciphering it and trying to figure out, like that could, and they talk about, that the evil one and the demons can actually implant your thought. Like, and this is from, by the way, the book is called Our Thoughts Determine Our Lives. That's where, that's like the context of it. So he's talking about dreams in that context where the dreams can actually dictate your reality once you start trying to impose like, and it could just be completely meaningless, completely random chaos that a demon just planted there. And you're trying to do all this like deciphering and decoding of it. Yep. And almost like in a way that like, almost like a magician, like you're trying to, invoke that or impose that reality of what occurred in that dream or your interpretation of it.
Yes. It's a subtle medium. So magicians play with it and demons too. Yeah, exactly. I used to be not annoyed, but I used to be like not in agreement with that. Ignore your dreams. And then I understood some things and I realized, yes, I understand why they say that now. It's like, ignore your dreams not because dreams never have anything important or it's not that. It's kind of like, if you eat from tree of knowledge of good and bad, you will die. And then the snake says, you won't necessarily die. You see? You won't necessarily die. God didn't say you'll necessarily die. He said, don't eat from tree of knowledge of good and evil. I'm telling you this now. Don't eat from tree of knowledge of good and evil or you'll die. And the snake, it does like a straw man argument, basically, to God. He said, he makes a straw man out of what God says. And he's like, it's not true that you'll necessarily die.
Yeah.
God didn't say that. It's like, God didn't say you'll necessarily die. You see what I'm saying? It's like if I say don't drink this bottle of poison, you'll die. And then I'm a doctor and I know it's possible that you might not die if you drink that bottle of poison. Actually, it's possible. You might have an immunity or whatever. And then I say, you won't necessarily die. You can drink it.
Yeah.
You know? And then you drink it and you die. But it's like, it's kind of the same thing with the dream thing. It's like, it's not necessarily bad, but I think especially in our times now, in our times that we're in now, I would say ignore your dreams most. And see, that's the thing. So, and then I was doing interpretation of dreams, okay? But the way I do it is basically to support the idea that you should ignore your dreams. It's kind of ironic, but I'm doing it in a way where I'm showing that every dream is basically a narrative of death and resurrection. Okay. But it's really complicated. Like there's many ways to see this death and resurrection pattern. So that's what I was doing. Yeah. Okay. So it's basically, I'm agreeing with ignore your dreams because the way I interpret it, it's not going to make people do actions based on their dreams. It's not going to make them say, oh, my dream is telling me that I should do this. You see, my dream is telling me that I should sell my house, because sometimes people do that. You know, they have dreams and then they like do things based on their
it's like it's a form of like manifestation. Yeah, it's like, oh well, that's
what's dangerous. It's like the snake. The dream is like the snake is whispering in your ear. Okay, we see it like that. And then if you can listen to the snake, you can watch it, you can observe it, but don't do what it says because it's subtly tricking you. Sometimes, not always, but the sometimes is so dangerous that maybe you should ignore them all the time. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But my way of interpreting dreams is meant to block actually the error of listening to the snake and doing what it says. And it's meant to just see it as a pattern, a symbolic pattern of death and resurrection. And it's actually interesting when you interpret it like that. But it doesn't contain all the implications of dreams.
Yeah, you're not saying like, I used to be into dreams too, and I would always try to interpret them. Like I remember there was and it's like, who knows where this even comes from, but there's all these like symbology that they connect to certain things that happen in dreams that recur, like teeth or something. You know, it's like, teeth mean this, like, or, teeth mean that like there's an anxiety happening or like, all this weird stuff. Like I used to be really interested in the notion that you can't turn on and off lights, like stuff like that in dreams, and then this was because I was into like lucid dreaming, and that was one of the triggers for lucid dreaming. When you're in a room within your dream, test the light switch, and if you can't turn it on or off, then you're in a dream, and that triggers your consciousness to start recognizing you're in the dream, and you can manipulate. And then think about the outcome of that, of lucid dreaming. Now you're just within this kind of like wherever you are in this corporeality of your dreamlike state, and you completely take over. Like you are controlling it now. Like you are manifesting an immaterial reality. You're a magician in like kind of an immaterial realm.
Exactly.
And so this, I found the quote. This is from Elder Thaddeus. He said, "The spirits of evil watch closely to see whether we pay attention to our dreams or not. They know what kind of influence dreams have on an individual and what they can do to trigger that influence. If they see that we believe in our dreams, then they will arrange things to happen so that we eventually lose touch with reality and become incapable of living."
Yeah, that is really brilliant. That is okay. I was saying before, the magicians try to change our world into subtle reality. Okay. That's what I think. That's what he's describing right there. You can't live anymore. Why? Because your world is now a subtle reality. Like if you do lucid dreaming and things like that, okay, you're basically carrying your conscious mind into your dreams, but you're doing something else too. You're carrying your dreams outside into the world, into the normal world, the waking world, the work world, we could say. The day. You're carrying the night into the day when you do that kind of exercise.
Yes.
And that's basically what magicians do. It's like you're not just transforming your dream into something that you consciously control. You're also making the dream seep out into reality, normal reality, and then your reality now is becoming fluid and subtle, and you won't be able to do anything productive anymore. You'll become like a wizard. Okay, you'll become a snake too. You'll see everything related to dreams, and everything is not what it seems like. And you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a way to transform reality into subtle reality. It's one of the things that's being done right now, I think.
Yeah.
So that's why
we actually in our evening in our prayer books, and there's an evening prayer where we're praying for a dreamless sleep. So you're supposed to actually ask God to prevent you from having dreams.
That's interesting.
So that you don't even have to deal with the temptation, because we view it as a temptation. A dream is a temptation. And so you're in a sense just asking, like how you pray the Lord's Prayer, lead me not into temptation. During your waking hours, you're supposed to continue that in your dreams. Like, don't let me be tempted in my sleeping state,
Because you see, this is a general theme too, in the Bible, or it's the idea that there's like two domains of reality. There's the day and the night. And these are completely different. Like one of them has implications that endure. So the domain of work, when you work and when you do good deeds and things like that. Why do you do good deeds? Because they endure. They have good effects that continue. If they didn't, why would you do anything really? But in the dream world, it's like, why it's a subtle realm too. Things are not permanent. They're fluid. They're always changing and everything. And your consciousness of it changes it. Things like that. That's self-recursive. It's a simulation. It's a simulation. So it's something fluid about it. There's something, it's not what it seems. Because in a simulation, you're always thinking it's not what it seems. It's a simulation. By the way, that's why they always tell us we're in a simulation. They're transforming our world, our real world, into a simulation in our minds. So that it's a way to make us enter into subtle reality too. Saying it's a simulation makes you question everything. Everything is not real now. Everything is something else than what it is. So it's another way to make us enter into the subtle reality that I was talking before. But so the idea is these two realms, you're not supposed to confuse them. It's like if you have a dream and in your dream you steal something, you're not responsible, obviously, for that, right? But if you do lucid dreaming, and in your dream you
decided to do it,
you're responsible. Gray zone. Okay, so when you have a gray zone, it means what? It means you're creating links between reality and dream world. And those links, they go both ways. You put your will into the dream, but the dream seeps out into the world too.
Right. Yeah,
it goes both ways. So that's very dangerous.
Because then in your dream, when you're conscious in your dream, you're experiencing the conscious consequences of of decisions you're making in that dream that carry into the material world.
Yeah.
Like you're having to deal with that, that doesn't go away after you wake up. Like you're now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So let's say in your lucid dream, you steal something. I'm taking a really benign example here, but I could take some much worse things, right? So you steal something and then in the waking day, your mind now is habituated to the possibility of stealing.
Yeah, that dopamine. You get that, dopamine carries over. Yeah.
Yeah. So now your mind might start telling you that you could steal.
Yep.
It's not under your control, It's like you do things. When you do things, it causes your mind to change. and to adapt to what you do. So if you do things in dreams, the same thing is happening.
Yeah.
Your mind is now being habituated to stealing, let's say. And so now maybe in the waking world, you might think stealing is not such a big deal. And you might steal. And like I said, I'm using a really benign example here on purpose, but we can imagine all the implications, right? So so it's a dangerous thing to do. I mean, in the Bible, this is a very interesting subject. In the Bible, the combination of day and night exists. It's the Sabbath, okay? And it's seen as a very dangerous day, because the Sabbath means rest during the day. Because usually we rest at night, right? Sleep is for night. That's when we rest. You don't feel guilty because you're lazy during the night, right? Because your nights are meant for sleep. You're not doing anything wrong. But if you're lazy during the day and you don't do anything, that's usually seen as wrong. And your mind's going to tell you that you're wrong. Like, you're going to feel guilty, right? But you don't feel guilty when you sleep, obviously. But it's like, if you combine these two, in the Bible, it exists. It's the Sabbath day.
Yeah.
It's the day of rest. And that's seen like a really, a zone that's really supposed to be sacred. It's like, you can't do anything on this day or it's dangerous, basically, because the people who made these rituals know what I'm talking about here with the confusion of the day and the night. You got to be careful. So they do have there is an overlap, but it's a really sacred thing. And it's like, you don't mess with that day.
This is why they prepare for the Sabbath. They do all their preparations on Friday evening.
Yeah.
When the sun goes down, it starts. Yeah.
It's like, we don't think of it like that, but it's kind of the same thing with the Ark of the Covenant in the Bible. It's a dangerous thing, that Ark. It's not like just the thing, for that's good and everything. It's like, you don't want to mess with the Ark. It's kind of the same thing. You don't want to mess with that day. So, but every other kind of confusion between day and night is usually related to magic and sorcery, vampirism, all these things.
Yep.
It's like the night, an undead. You become an undead creature if you do that too often.
That's a good comment there. Gordon quoted from St. John Climacus. He said, He who believes in dreams is completely inexperienced, but he who distrusts all dreams is a wise man. Only believe dreams that warn you of torments and judgments. But if despair afflicts you, then such dreams are also from demons. That's 6th, 7th century. That's a good one too. And then, this might be a big question. One more in the Substack from Stan. He's saying more... The question is symbolism of video games, more specifically, the part of getting sucked into a different... I mean, it's kind of what we're talking about, not paying attention to your actual surroundings, getting sucked into... I mean, I would say that applies to not even just video games, but to the algorithm, to anything that's designed digitally to kind of, like everything now is designed for retention, right? It's all meant to optimize retention so that you don't have that sensory experience of what's going on around you in the material world. So I would extend that even beyond video games. I think that social media is doing that now too.
Video games is it's a simulation. It's like a dream world basically, but you're doing it during the day. I mean, if you play video game too long, you start feeling guilty a little bit. There's a reason.
Well, I just saw a video from it was an Orthodox priest, and he was talking about GTA, and he's like, someone just asked, like, is it a sin to play video games? And it wasn't a nuanced answer, because it's like, well, is it a sin to play Tetris? I don't know, probably not. But he was talking about the more extreme expressions of playing GTA. He's like, well, you go around, you rob people. Why would you want to do that? Why would you choose to do that in a video game? It's playing on that idea of, a dream world. It again, kind of the same of what you were just saying of what if you rob someone in your dream? You're still in a way, and as they get more realistic and they become more lifelike, that experience is only going to become more real in your mind too. You're going to actually feel the real effects of that.
Yeah, it's undeniable. I mean, I'm not going to necessarily say that it's wrong to play video games, but it's still true that you have to be careful with that stuff, because you could get sucked into this virtual world. And it's definitely true that what you do in the video world has some implication in the real world. It's a subtle thing again, but I can even give a proof of this. I don't know if you ever played the game Skyrim. Have you ever played that game?
Yep.
It's actually a pretty good game,
Yeah.
but so there's something in that game that's really interesting to me, like as a sociological thing, because there's like they added kids in the game at one point, like kids, okay, and you can't kill the kids, okay, so you can't just like kill
that's
it.
right. Yeah.
So and then you could ask yourself, why can't you kill a kid?
That's a great. Oh, I never.
Then they have no choice to admit, well, we don't want this to be in the game because
we don't even want you to have this option. Yeah.
But that leads credence to what we were saying before. Yeah. There's some aspect of it that seeps beyond the game. Yeah. Because if it was just a game, it didn't matter. They wouldn't have put in the rule where you don't kill kids, you see? Because at some sense, everyone knows it's kind of true that there's things you don't want to do, even in video games. Maybe killing kids is one. So it doesn't mean like video games. I don't think video games are bad, but I understand anyway what you're
based Bethesda versus morally depraved Rockstar.
We could say that.
Well, because it's like the whole thing, like you're saying, it's like adding that mechanism of like, no, we're not allowing you the freedom to do that. Like you shouldn't want to do that, and we're not going to give you the option to. Like we're not going to let you use our system to like. Like entertain your depraved kind of like fantasies or whatever,
Yeah. So the idea is interesting for sure, and I think anyway, video games is part of what's going on now. It's all about that. It's all about creating simulation too, because simulation is where they could do the magic, right? I mean, if the world is a simulation, that means you can control the simulation. That's right. That means you can do magic in the simulation. Yeah.
It's a digital. It's digital lucid dreaming, kind of in a sense. You know? Yeah.
You're not supposed to be asking yourself if you're dreaming when you're awake. When you're dreaming, sometimes you wonder if you're dreaming. But if when you're awake, you're asking yourself, "Am I dreaming?" No. When you're awake,
that's such a delusion.
That's a problem. There's something wrong with you.
That was one of the weird things about training your mind to detect triggers for. Lucid dreaming is like you're supposed to go into the rooms when you're awake, and flip light switches like that. That's supposed to get you into the habit of doing that, so it carries over into your dreams. It's really playing with that, like that, dream world versus material world. It's really
it's actually a good example. If you try to put your consciousness in the dream, you also put your dream in the consciousness.
That's right. Yeah,
you're doing things now in the world that are weird, like opening and closing lights or tapping your hands when you open the door. That you would never. That seemed crazy actually for a normal person observing you. So your dream thing is already making you do weird stuff in the real world. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I never thought of it like that.
Yeah. All right. Great. Oh, thank you so much for your time, Matthieu. It's been a pleasure speaking with you as always. And, thank you for taking the time and going into your vehicle there to chat with us about all this crazy stuff. But it was a very valuable discussion. I think people are going to really enjoy this. And, was there anything you wanted to, where can we find you? All that?
I just wanted to say thanks for reading my book, first of all.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Thank you for sending it to me. I mean, that prompted me to, do this. And it is like I've been saying this in the book club, it's a rare and valuable book because there's so few like it. I don't even know any others like it, really. It's very unique in getting us to think about the pre-modern understanding of symbols. And this is one of the things that came up in our discussions was like the fact that the way the Bible was written, it was not written for it was clearly not written for people like us, and this is why we can't interpret it by ourselves, because this language was understood in the ancient mind. Like they just understood what these symbols meant. We've lost that.
Yeah.
Like we've completely lost that. And so any kind of book that kind of prompts us, even if we don't understand the whole thing, to just prompt us to think symbolically, like the ancient people did, is invaluable. So, so I'm very, very glad that you sent it to me because that prompted me. I was like, we should add this to the list. We should read this. And we're all very, into kind of questioning especially modern cosmology here, at least in my community. So it was very, appropriate.
Yeah. Well, thanks for reading it. I just want people to really, it's not even about me. It's like, I don't care about me. It's just, I want people to think about these questions,
Yeah.
because I think we need to now. I think we're like in a weird place in the world. We're in a weird time where these things are coming back, I think, but maybe not in a good way. So we have to like figure some stuff out before we get bombarded by certain weird stuff. It's already started. Let's be honest. I mean, we're bombarded already.
Yeah, we're in it. Yeah, we're in it.
It's going really fast too. So next thing we know, we'll be serving in an AI god or something.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah. Great. All right. Well, so, and we can find you on Twitter. Are you?
Yeah.
Are you
Well,
not?
I don't
You're taking
really
a break, right?
that much. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the best place to be. Honest.
All right. Well, look.
I did a Substack. Maybe that's where.
All right. There you go. Yeah, I'll link you up there. Cool. All right. Thank you again, Matthieu. I appreciate it. Yeah, we'll be in touch. But yeah, thanks for chatting with us. It's been an honor.
It was my pleasure.
All right. Take care.
Thank you, Mathieu.
Thank you.